Well, I think people need to know or realize that it is happening.
Humans rely on fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gases to heat our homes, to run our vehicles, to power industry and manufacturing, and to provide us with electricity. But people need to know that this causes a big problem. Energy from the sun is trapped in the thermal blanket, which is a layer of greenhouse gases, including water vapor and carbon dioxide, that helps to disperse heat and warm the surface so that life is sustainable. But when fossil fuels are burned, it causes extra carbon dioxide to go up into the atmosphere, which in turn slowly causes the thermal blanket to heat up the Earth increasingly more over time. As shown in the animation, carbon emissions are low until the last 200 or so years, or at the start of the Industrial Revolution, when it shoots up.
If we anticipate going forward, and by the way, I'm not talking only 2025, 2030, I'm talking also 2050 and 2100, where we're going to have to keep squeezing down very, very hard on greenhouse gas emissions. Certainly if we are going to bring along everyone.
But it's not all human factors. There are some natural factors like volcanoes that we cannot control. This is known as climate variability. Even out in Mauna Loa, Hawaii, where there are no human factors, you can still see more carbon emissions. Climatologists like Lee Min Yang believe that climate variability is worth looking at.
And first of all, I'd like to sort of distinguish climate change versus climate variability. Now when you talk about climate variability, most often you refer to the natural variation of the climate or weather, not necessarily due to any human impact or activity. When climate variability has such an impact on the human life and the economics, for example, food market and also the human well-being. So it is very important to study.
Climatologists aren't as worried about the climate variability, though, because if climate variability had the biggest impact on the climate, then the Earth would have heated up a long time ago and human life wouldn't be sustainable today. That's why climatologists are most worried about the human fingerprints in climate change. And even though some people don't agree, climatologists have proof that climate change is at least partially human-induced.
Climate change? What climate change? It's 17 below out.
I like the dark and think to myself, what a wonderful.
We've really demonstrated many important things. For example, we've done a lot of research to show that, in fact, since the 1950s, the climate has warmed, and that's unequivocal.
I'm a scientist, and I believe other scientists who specialize in climate science. So the vast majority of climate scientists believe that climate change is happening, and if they believe it, I believe it. Plus, I can look at some of the numbers coming in. More than likely, 2016 is going to be in the top 5 of hottest years around the globe. 9 of the top 10 hottest years around the whole globe have happened since the year 2000. So we're kind of, I think, accelerating the warming of the globe. And the 10th one was in 1998. The 10th hottest year was in 1998. So everything has been happening very recently, where if you go back to 1880, 10 of the hottest years have happened since 1998.
If humans don't do something about this problem, the world will warm up between 2 and 4 degrees Fahrenheit in the next 100 years, causing several different problems, including melting the polar ice caps. So what should we do?
We talk climate change partially due to human activities or impact, and we can do certain things to help or to mitigate the negative impact of climate change, if there, which is already happening. So what we could do is first of all, we can limit our impact and human impact on the footprint of what we do on the Earth's surface and the atmosphere by not for example, doing the cut of the forest or release the carbon dioxide more than what we really have to. and also live in a much greener lifestyle, then it would help, to help not impact the climate go to the extreme. But I must caution, on the other side, there's always climate variability, which regardless of the human being impact, it's always there. It has to do with the solar output, for example, or volcanic activities, or even the rotation of the Earth, of changing the rotation of the Earth axis and so forth, which we can do nothing about it, as a human being. So we can do certain things, but we cannot do everything to control completely. We never can, as a human, can control the climate completely.
If Americans' health and well-being is what the presidential candidates think is most important, then they should discuss the effects of climate change on American citizens. If they think that a changing climate is not the right face for America, then discussing some solutions for decreasing carbon emissions is a top priority. And finally, they should discuss how to properly inform Americans about climate change.
Because sadly, it's going to take more than magic to stop climate change.
The rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true.